Hello, mermaids! Whew, I'm excited for today's training. So welcome if you're joining us on replay, because you'll be seeing this first as I wait for the people who are going to join us live to come find me. So if you are already hearing this and seeing this, get yourself comfortable. You can potentially grab a glass of water, or definitely a pen and a paper would be helpful. And I'm seeing you finding me live, those who are joining live, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Excited to see you. Sarah's here, hi. Hola. Yeah, if you're live or if you're on replay, let me know if you're here. So it's always so exciting to see everybody coming in. Bianca's here, hi. So I'm doing this on my, Ellen's here, hi. I'm doing this on my phone today because last week we had some glitches that I think were connected to my computer. So hopefully the technology angels will be present with us. Lauren's here. Hi. Welcome. Okay, so yeah, today's training is going to be pretty juicy. Again, it's subject matter that has really just come from my experience. Also, the priestess trainings that I've done and a lot of sort of meditation and inquiry. So it's not really, things that I'm just, taking from other trainings or other books and sort of repeating them verbatim, which I think is really valid because there's going to be really unique things that we're going to talk about today. So, all right, why don't we get into a short meditation as we begin. And Kenzie's here, hi. Awesome. Caress is here, hi. All right, and as y'all are still coming in, let's just ground and meditate, call in the frequencies that we want to be working with today, and then we will get right into it and really supporting you, your business, your sacred work, and your financial empowerment. All right, so taking a deep breath and closing your eyes, breathing in and releasing. Just allowing yourself to arrive here. I just want to thank you for being here and being present. So take a deep breath in and calling on our higher selves. So calling on our true divine essences, the ones who are infinitely abundant, infinitely wealthy in so many ways. We're calling on those beings that we really are. And you can just feel your higher self fill you like a waterfall of starlight coming from above your head and moving down into your crown chakra, flowing down into your third eye, your pineal gland, the base of your skull, your throat. This waterfall of starlight moving into your heart, the throat, the heart, the arms, the hands. Feel your heart open up, maybe even feeling those angel wings behind your heart activate and flap open. You might see them as fairy wings or dragon wings as well. Feeling yourself as an angel here on earth, really honoring your value and your worth. And bringing your higher self light down and through the solar plexus, activating that lion, lioness energy, sun energy that lives inside of you. Coming down into the womb, the second chakra. Feeling your higher self spin and spiral through the second chakra, feeling how you're feeling in your second chakra today. Your lower chakra is coming down into the root. Breathing light into the root, light, light, light into the root, and feeling that light move from the pelvic bowl down through the legs and the feet. Feeling yourself lit up with light. And we call upon Archangel Michael, we call upon all of our spirit guides and angels to be with us now and to prepare us for this session. And I'm setting the intention that this session and all the energy and information that comes up today deeply serves your soul's mission, deeply serves your financial empowerment, and deeply serves the evolution and the liberation of all beings, asking that all of the energy that is built today in this circle, in this etheric circle that we're in, deeply serve the evolution of all beings, and asking Source Energy, Archangel Michael, and all of our higher selves to direct that energy so that all beings may be free, that all beings may know themselves as love and as loved. So taking a deep breath in And finally, just anchoring yourself into Mother Earth, sending a grounding cord. You might see it as a red laser beam, you might see it as tree roots, you might see it simply as a pillar of light, going all the way down into the core crystal of this planet, really anchoring you. And you might even send your own intentions down into the core crystal of the earth for this session, potentially that you'll receive more financial abundance or whatever else you are intending to experience and receive as a result of this session. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for holding the space for us, for continually clearing the energy field that we're creating. And so it is. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes back to the space. You can see Hope is here. Awesome. Hi, love. And as I continue, I'm assuming that you can hear me pretty well. But just let me know if you can, if you're live, if you can hear me and if you can see me. That would be awesome. All right, so let's get into it. So last week, if you caught last week's training, we spoke about the temples and the ancient priestess temples and how I actually really base my, thanks for letting me know that you can hear me well, I actually base the organization and the structure of my business on these ancient temples. And today we are continuing sort of feeling into the ancient priestesses and this divine feminine energy. And we are actually now speaking about money, financial empowerment, and with our businesses, of course, the main thing with our businesses, a lot of us feel pretty well equipped. Like, obviously we'll have our doubts, or if we're just starting, we need to have more confidence. But I feel like most of the time we feel pretty well equipped with like the spiritual healing part of it. We're like, well, I can, if I'm honest, I can do a really, good session, or I can give Reiki, or, I can feel connected that way. Again, yeah, you're going to have your doubts sometimes, but the big thing for our businesses usually, right, is like, but that money, that money. Thanks, Ellen. Ellen says, my hair looks nice, and I thought so too. I kept being like this. I was in the ocean this morning. So we're going to talk about the money today in hopefully a different perspective than maybe you've heard before, or potentially we can just activate new things for you. So let's go back to ancient times when the ancient priestesses were serving in the temples. The ancient priestesses were pillars of the goddess energy. And if you think about, if you've seen those like kind of fat, like round goddesses with really full breasts and really full tummies that come from ancient times, this was the energy of the Great Mother that they were sort of representing. They were representing this abundance, this just like full abundance, big mama energy that was here taking care of us all. It was also representing the lands and the abundance of the lands and the harvest and the fruits and the water and the air and the natural flow of the universe, right? And it was, thought that this being, we can connect with source energy, really can be considered androgynous and have both masculine and feminine principles. But the priestesses especially really connected to the feminine principle, the Great Mother, and the one who birthed our souls from her cosmic womb. Yeah, Sarah says full and voluptuous. So priestesses would serve the goddess, they would serve source energy, and there was this energy in ancient cultures, especially these sort of matriarchal cultures, that we are just taken care of by the Great Mother, by the goddess, and there were certain ways of living to sort of keep things in balance. A part of that was giving a lot of gratitude. Part of that was living in alignment. Part of that was the ability to read the wind and the stars and the earth for signs and signals, because nature just does her thing. But if you can sort of learn what nature is saying, you can really flow with it, and there can be harmony. But then what happened is this, patriarchal society really sort of sprung up. We think about the Romans, right, for example. And the priestesses, the temples were burned, the priestesses were raped, anything pagan related was outlawed. Even, Christianity took full force. And while I love Christian mysticism and I love Jesus and Mother Mary, Christianity was used as a weapon to, by those who didn't actually have, source God in their hearts. They had the, lustful desire for power in their hearts. And they saw that, this man, Jesus, and his teachings would be a great way to weaponize their own sort of desire, wanting to happen in the world to happen, which means no to the goddess, no to the Great Mother, no to any sort of, again, pagan energies which really honor the land, and, all to the point, all the way to the point where, we had the witch burnings, several hundred years later, that was still happening. And in some places of the world, apparently it still is what I'm hearing. But we had the witch burnings, even if you were, if you talked to trees, or if you used herbs as medicine in this really deep connection with the mother energy, then your life would be in danger, right? So everyone was affected by this great wound that happened with humanity, not just women and not just priestesses. We learned that it's not safe to connect to the Great Mother, and we were told by these patriarchal forces that actually your sustenance and your safety comes from society. It comes from the man. It comes from the system. So if you can be a good citizen, do what we tell you, we will help you stay safe. We will help you stay safe. And you can see that in our modern culture, right? By it's like, if you just get the 9 to 5, if you stay safe, if you do as you're told, if you go to school like a nice girl or boy, if you do X, Y, Z, you will be safe. But the thing is that is so far removed from the actual truth of where our safety really comes from. Inevitably, none of us are actually feeling very safe. Sure, people will go to their 9 to 5s, they'll have money in their bank account, but they'll still have a lot of anxiety. They might have anxiety around money, they might have anxiety and they don't even know where it's from. But there is this energy coming from this disconnection with Source, with the Great Mother, that was our original and always is our original truth, that has guided us to feel like we're not really taken care of, right? So I want to explain how this kind of showed up in my life on the entrepreneurial path, and how I've begun to really unravel these old ideas of your safety comes from the man. Because right when you step out as an entrepreneur and you're not getting that paycheck and you're not in that normal sort of job and those normal roles that you might have grown up seeing your parents or your family in, it can feel like, and what it felt like for me, like I was walking off a cliff and there was nothing that was going to be there to support me. No guaranteed income, no paycheck coming in every 2 weeks. What? Like, I just have to float around in this magical angel land and just assume that people are going to want to work with me and money is going to come in. Like, it felt very scary, and that's how it tends to feel, especially as spiritual entrepreneurs, right? It's very spiritual, our work. The patriarchal systems and the culture that we live in does not value spiritual work and spiritual offerings in the way that, maybe 3 or 4 or 5,000 years ago society did, right? If you go back to ancient Egypt, the priestesses, the priests, the ones who served the divine and the ones who had this high level knowledge of how the universe worked were incredibly honored. They were at the highest sort of ranking in society because spiritual knowledge and connection to source was so important. But right, we have today's culture where it's not the case. So you go out and you want to share your spiritual gifts, or you want to share empowerment, or you want to share coaching or this and that, and we've grown up in a society that just doesn't honor that, so it can feel very scary. So again, back to my journey. So how this sort of looked for me, and I think no one's commented since Sarah, but sometimes comments are weird, so I just want to let you know that the last comment I see is Sarah's full and voluptuous. If any more have come in, I can't see them. How this happened for me, it was on this bed, my bed is in front of me, and I remember there's one night that's like ingrained into my mind, ingrained into like just imprinted in me, where I woke up in sheer panic. around money. This was several years ago. This was probably 5 years ago, maybe. Within the first few years of starting my business. You might have read the post yesterday that I wrote, but the first few years of my business, like, I am not this person. I am not the entrepreneur that's like, oh, yeah, I started my business and I made like 6 figures the first year and like now I just, it's like, no, I wasn't that entrepreneur. I started my business when I was, I think, 21 years old. And for the first few years, it was a lot, I struggled, but I was full-time. I ended up being able to pay rent, my groceries, all that kind of stuff, but there was always a low-grade anxiety around money, always, like running through my system, there'd always be anxiety about money, because I didn't know where my next anything was coming from. Even my business model wasn't well set up. I didn't have payment plans coming in, like every month to month, I just lived on the edge of like, I hope clients come this month. I'm actually very impressed with myself because I wouldn't ever recommend, now that I know what I know, I wouldn't ever recommend living like that where you don't have payment plans coming in for the next several months and things like that at well set up, but that's what I did. And it was good for me because it really brought up a lot of this fear. So one night I remember, still like a few years into my business, right, I woke up in the middle of the night with like so much panic in my system. Like the fear was so deep, and it was just around, it was around money, and it was around safety, and it was around like, oh my God, like, do I really, like, how do I have to live in this financial system where I'm always having to make money, and like, this sucks. But the fear was so deep, I couldn't get back to sleep. It was so deep that like 5 years later, it's still imprinted in my being. I remember it so much. And what I believe was happening in that moment was I was processing the wound, not only my wound, but my ancestors' wounds and the collective wounds around I'm not taken care of. Because I said to myself, and I said to my life, I said, I'm not choosing to do the job thing. I'm not choosing to get my money from this system. I'm choosing to attract money based on my spiritual gifts. I'm choosing to attract what I need based on my heart, right? And I was in that moment, I believe, unraveling this wound and trauma that has said you are not actually safe. All the things that I just talked about. So Matt Kahn says something really amazing. Matt Kahn says, when trauma is healing, it can feel traumatic. It does feel traumatic. So Sarah says, this literally happened to me in the Lion's Gate, sister. It's intense and heartbreaking, but also very transformative. Yeah, and maybe what I'm about to say might also, you might also feel into as well. Or, you're, very intuitive, right? So you might have already felt that. But so when trauma leaves your body, when you're actually healing trauma, it feels traumatic because you have to process it. So I believe that night I was processing all of my ancestors' pain, even the collective pain and my own pain, that said, you're not taken care of, you're not taken care of, you're not taken care of, you're going to die in a hole, money's not going to come, safety's not going to come, you're not taken care of. And as I was so committed to saying, I'm going to make this work, I'm going to be in a new paradigm energy, I'm going to be a spiritual entrepreneur, as I was so committed to making that work, that energy was able to start to come up and heal. But it was it felt really painful. And this is a dialogue that a lot of people, we don't have online. I don't know if other people just don't experience the depth of fear that I had, but I think they do, and I think a lot of people just don't end up really talking about it because it's easier to talk about the inspiring stuff. It's easier to talk about like what happens after you do the deep healing work. It's easier to talk about that time that you had that $10,000 month, that dollar month, that $15,000 month, and that gets people stoked and they want to work with you. But we can't skip this part of the process because it was so important for me. Sarah says it's like throwing up. Yeah, it's like throwing up all this trauma from your DNA. So you have to understand that as you go and you're an entrepreneur and especially a spiritual entrepreneur, that you're literally throwing up, like Sarah says, the toxins from your DNA, where patriarchy came in and whatever happened, and that cord was cut, not really, but cut to the Great Mother. So what is the medicine here? Where did I go from that? Well, I started to really connect with my priestess path. I worked with mentors, and I started to do ceremonies and meditations with the Great Mother. And what I started to remember is that when it's like, if I consider that money is coming to me and that is the source of my safety and my abundance, that money is actually the source of my safety and abundance on this planet, I will always live in a state of anxiety because it's a false narrative. And when we believe false narratives that are out of alignment with what our soul knows, we experience anxiety. So what I had to remember was that actually source energy, you might call this God, you might call this energy goddess, you might call it great spirit, divine, whatever you're wording, great mother for this source energy. I had to start to remember, and I'm very much still on this pathway, I will be for the rest of my life, that source is the source of my safety. And so we have to go behind this and beneath this 3D conditioning and plug into that my soul, first and foremost, is always safe. And then what needs to happen is that we need to develop this deeper layer of trust in the divine and in source and in the Great Mother. And probably the biggest tool that I had and I continue to have for reactivating this trust is going into nature. For example, sitting with trees. Because nature never lost that connection to the cyclical way of life and abundance. Abundance, if you look at nature, is the kind of fabric of how it works. On one, I'm looking at a gigantic tree out of my window. I can't even count, the amount of leaves on that one tree would be like tens of thousands at least, just on that one tree. And all that's going to fall down in the fall, and that's going to be compost and nourishment for all the other plants around it, and that's going to happen again and again. So in that just one life cycle of that one tree, there's probably going to be hundreds of thousands of leaves that just one tree creates. In a rainstorm, how many drops of rain just come from one rainstorm? Think about how big the ocean is and how much water is in the ocean. Nature is incredibly abundant. So when we want to remember the inherent abundance that we are, I feel like going back to nature, sitting with the tree, sitting on the earth to repattern our systems, to reconnect with the Great Mother is really important. So what I started to do when I felt fear is I have a special tree that I've had a relationship with for years now. You might have seen it on Instagram if you follow me on my stories. I go to this one tree and I sit with this tree and I breathe out my fear. I breathe out my fear of not being taken care of. I breathe out my fear of maybe being persecuted for sharing information that I share. I breathe it out and I breathe in the healing energy of Mother Earth. And in that way, I repatterned myself with, this is what the Great Mother feels like. This is what it feels like to be taken care of. Because the tree teaches me, the tree isn't like, oh my God, I'm so anxious. What if it doesn't rain this week? I won't have enough water. The tree is like, I'm just going to sit here, stand here, and everything I need comes to me. And the tree knows that how it's designed to withstand the cycles of nature. It's designed for this reality, just like your body and your soul is in some ways, in many ways, designed for this reality. So you're good, right? This is what the tree teaches me. It teaches me that I'm a part of a cycle, that as a part of me being a child of the divine, that I'm naturally, inherently taken care of, that there's a flow of abundance that's always there, and the invitation is to clear out the wounds that say that, no, that's not true, right? And if you think about it like this, moving away from this idea that, money comes from a job, or money comes from this, or abundance comes from this one place, the system, etc. Think about all those times that you've found money on the ground. Think about those times where you've gotten a surprise check in the mail, or someone gifted you something out of the blue. even if you think about it in your business and you're still operating under this notion that abundance and money comes from my clients, how could that be possibly true if you're still able to receive money from other sources than your clients? Then the logical explanation would be money comes through my clients, but it doesn't come from my clients. So what happens is we start to ease up on this like energy of like, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. Just like, work with me. I need money coming in. Because that's how we're like if we believe that money comes from clients, which is the same fucking energy of money comes from the system. Money and my safety comes from people. It comes from 3D systems. No, we go, well, money comes through my clients. Abundance comes from source energy. Right now we're living in a world where we use money as a marker of abundance. Maybe in 1,000 years or 10,000 years or 50,000 years, it will be different. Money was never the issue. Consciousness was the issue. It's when consciousness started to say, I'm not taken care of, that there was issues, right? So source is supply. So the invitation here is to plug into source. Where's your relationship with source energy? Great Mother, divine. Do you feel taken care of because you're a child of the divine? Or is there a lot of wounding that we need to process? But when we start to get into this energy of source is my supply, money comes through clients, but I can attract money in so many ways. I can attract abundance in so many ways. We start to feel a lot more grounded and taken care of. Because we know if not that client, another one. If not that situation, another one. It's like we remember, oh my gosh, of course I'm always taken care of. That's the divine's job. And it's only my responsibility to say yes. It's my responsibility, but not just from the mind, but to actually open our bodies up and say, you know what, I am worthy. You know what, I'm willing to plug into the Great Mother. I'm willing to plug into Source. And again, this is what the Ancient Priestesses knew. And you are very likely one of the Ancient Priestesses, and we're reawakening this knowledge, so we're going to free humankind. Because if humankind thinks that my safety comes from money, then we're always going to be chasing money. And there's going to be a corporation that's destroying the earth that's going to come in and say, oh, no problem, I'll give you money. And so people will say, well, I need to be safe first, so I'll choose money, and then I'll do all that like spiritual involvement after. But it's not how it works. We have the option of saying, no, I am taken care of because I am, and that is the truth. So how does my soul want to show up in this reality? And in that way, I know that I'll be taken care of. So there's a lot to this, and we could go, you're probably sensing that we could go into tools for healing, we could go into wealth consciousness and repatterning our energy around money. We could go in a lot, and we're going to be doing that in Divine Feminine in Business. So hopefully you've heard of by now Divine Feminine in Business. It's the 8-month training that I have out. Applications are closing August 25th, so you have a little bit of time to potentially check it out and apply. But that's what we're going to be doing a lot in Divine Feminine in Business. As you can imagine, this conversation, well, there's so many different avenues that we need to go down in order for healing. We've got to ancestral heal, right? We got to heal our DNA of these old beliefs. We got to have the tools for when the fear comes up and purges out of us. What are our tools? Going to nature, maybe working with angels. Archangel Michael, thank you for transmuting anywhere that I'm fearful, that I'm not taken care of by Source. You know, angelic healing, ancestral healing, tools for dealing with the fear that comes up when we're doing our own thing. Tools for dealing with the ego's voice that said, this isn't real, you're not cut out for this isn't going to work, who do you think you are? Tools for all of that, right? And then also repatterning our energy around money, so we're not seeing it as this thing that has enslaved humanity, but we're seeing it as this neutral energy where we understand that human consciousness was always the issue, not money. Money has never been the issue. And the people that are doing these crazy fucking things to the planet, I firmly believe that they're not actually after money. They're after control. They're after control and power. Right? So there's a lot to this. So I can share with you kind of the beginnings of this in this 45-minute journey. But if you're interested in going into all of these avenues, exploring these and all of these, check out Divine Feminine Business, and just comment if you're, I don't have the link in the title of this video, but just let me know if you're interested in potentially joining us, and you can just say I'm interested in the comments of this video and I'll send you more. And what else did I want to say around that? Yeah, and so where I am now, I guess, it's like, okay, so what happened after that night of that deep fear? Well, all those things that I just shared with you, I found ancestral healing. I worked very, very deeply with my angels and continue to clear out fears and old beliefs that say I'm not taken care of. I went to my tree, and I still go to my tree often when I feel fear or when I feel great. I repatterned my energy around money and releasing this idea that money's bad or wrong to want. And I let myself, and continue to let myself, claim it. Claim that I want it. Claim that it's safe for me to want abundance because it's mine. It's natural. And so that actually enabled me to, first off, release the anxiety, the chronic anxiety around money. Then I started making more and more money when I was like, oh, maybe I'm actually taken care of. Maybe money is cool. Maybe I'll just invite it in. Maybe this is just like a fun earth school kind of thing. And I'm going to reconnect with my ancient priestess knowledge that Great Mother is taking care of me. Then I started making more and more money. Then I started traveling with it. Then I started having 5-figure months, $10,000 months, $13,000 months, and continued on. And now I'm in this place where, honestly, like, I don't want to say this because, like, I'm going to say it. You never know what deeper fear is going to purge out of me. But, like, I don't worry about money anymore. I actually get excited about money. I don't worry about money. When I think about money, I'm like, yes, like, I'm going to do that with my money. Or I'm saving for land. Or, like, yes, I want those amazing clothes. Or, yes, like, money's so cool. Money's an energy that we just get to get stoked on. Because I recognize that abundance is a gift from our Creator, and it's inherently mine. So I know you can probably feel there's a lot of deep healing work to do here that we can do. And this is why Divine Feminine Business is 8 months long. This is why it's a deep dive course. Because not only am I going to teach you around business strategy, creating courses, but we are going to do the deep healing work that is required for you to stand in your power and go, of course I'm taken care of. And you're actually going to see that. You're going to see those thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars coming in because of this deep work that you're doing. And it's not just about that. It's about healing this for humanity. Because if humanity is in this, again, this energy of fear, they're going to make shitty decisions like we have been for a long time. We're going to chase money rather than chasing our connection with Source because we don't understand, because we forgot. If money disappeared tomorrow, we'd still be taken care of. There would just be another form and tool of abundance that we would have access to. So this is about healing this wound for the collective, and it's really, really important. And it's really, really important that we reclaim this and we reclaim abundance as our natural state. Because when we reclaim abundance and we show people abundance is our natural energy, more and more people get activated, and that's how poverty is going to be dissolved on this planet. That's how lack is going to be dissolved on this planet. By one, us remembering who we really are, activating the grids of abundance, strengthening them to the point that anything less than that can no longer exist on this planet. So if you think, if you've ever thought that healing with money or, wanting to create more money in your life from a really deep perspective is superficial in any way, right? It's not. This is really, really important work. This is the mystery school. This is the initiation on this planet right now. There's a reason why most people have a very sticky time with money, because of everything that I just said and more, and this is your priestess initiation. Whereas before in the temples, you might have been asked to swim across a river full of crocodiles to dissolve your fear of death. Now, we're doing this, right? Now, it's a different initiation, but it's an initiation nonetheless. Caress says, Part of what needs to be healed is the way that patriarchy has devalued women and what women value. One of the main reasons that so many women feel unsafe when they decide to step into their own non-patriarchal path, in other words, to embrace the ways of the mother. Exactly. And we're like, the divine feminine is rising, right? That's what we need. Joni says, appreciate the collective global perspective. Yeah. It's so deep, and sometimes it's hard for me to explain it in a post or on video, like how fucking deep it all is, but like I feel like you're here because you get it, because you know that you want to start your business and grow your business, not just for yourself, although of course you want to support yourself and have a great life, but you have this burning desire in you to just, that's why you're here. It's your soul mission to support the collective. So I'll leave you with that. Again, the invitation is to feel into Divine Feminine Business 8-month training for priestesses and starseeds to create and grow your business. We go so deep in this training. It's up-leveled, like it's my 3rd time running it, and it's up-leveled like never before. I'm going to be fully devoted. If you jump in, I'm going to be fully devoted to you and to be there with you for this deep healing. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not going to be a journey that you're going to get into and you're just going to do affirmations for 8 months and you're like, wow, my business is so successful. Like, fuck that fucking shit that people... Sorry, excuse my language. But you know what I mean, right? There's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there that's like, just jump in, follow these 10 steps. You're going to be rich. Amazing business. Come on. Affirmations. No, the work is really deep, and it's one of my favorite things in life to be able to hold space for other people who are doing it and to guide you. So it's a little bit easier, and you got a lot of support, and you bust through it really fast, and we get the angels in there, and we get ceremony in there, and we get nature in there, and you won't need 3, 4, 5 years like I did to transmute this stuff, because I was just not really knowing what I was doing, and I was just guessing my whole way through. And now I have more training and more support that I can be like, okay, look, this is important, this is important, this is important, and you can just do it a lot faster. Okay, Mary's here. Hi, love. She says, great transmission, Beth. Awesome. Okay, so I'll leave that with you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, let me know. Just type I'm interested below, or, you know, to receive more information on Divine Feminine Business. Hopefully you've seen me linking it in different places. And applications are still open for... yeah, until the 25th. But if you know you're going to apply, please don't wait till the 25th, because I'm getting my period around the 27th. So I would really appreciate not having like so many applications coming on the 25th, because then you're going to have a 30-minute call. So if you know you're going to apply from my period, my future period cave, can you apply before then? Thanks. Kitty says, love your energy. Thank you so much. Okay, much love. Yeah, just blessings for your journey with money, and you're so special. You're such a special human and soul. So we'll see you soon. Lots of love.